I think they can win a title with what they have right now. They've been playing unbelievably well, in incredibly good form. One loss on the season, that was to a very informed Nottingham Forest team. So I think they have all the pieces right now. I think one of their strengths is actually their depth. But, the caveat here is that I think that they rely too much on Mo Salah for the goals. Jaleel.
Yep.
You're up first. You were assigned Chelsea. And Enzo Maresca, he said that they're not title contenders this year.
Yeah, that's...
Do you agree with that?
That is expectation managing. That is level setting. So that way, when and if it doesn't happen, it's like, yeah, I told you so. But if it does happen, you're like, hey, icing on the cake and then some.
Okay, so who's a player that you think would make them legitimate title contenders and give them a chance, a real chance?
This is in the ideal case. We're living in a utopian world. And of course, like we said over here, Footy Kit Friday is split, right? So we got to go over to Arsenal. We got to pick up.
No.
We got to pick up the Brazilian. We got to pick up Gabriel.
Oh, really?
And the reason
you ain't
why,
got the facilities, big man.
Hey, listen. When it comes to spending money, that's one thing that Chelsea has been able to do recently. Gabriel right now, his market value is about 75 million. So, you know, added to the books, one thing that Chelsea is going to be needing to look for is to duck FFA sanctions when you talk about transfer fees. But in all seriousness, what Chelsea needs is a proven winner in the back to be a leader for them. That would be the icing on the cake.
Okay.
If Gabriel comes into this team, you're looking at that last piece that they need. The reason why is because they've only had 3 clean sheets in all of their Prem games this year. And what you need to be able to contend for a title is to be able to stack clean sheet after clean sheet where you're not putting so much pressure on your offense to make sure that they need to score 3 or 4 goals to even get 3 points week in and week out. So for me, if they're able to, in an ideal world, of course, to add Gabriel, you're looking at a situation where, man, it could be scary hours for the rest of the Prem. I'm talking Michael Jackson, Thriller, Red Jacket scary hours for everybody in the Prem.
Amazing. I love that you woke up this morning and chose violence against
Of course.
these two.
I always do against Arsenal.
That's bold.
Yeah. Very bold.
Very early in the show to be doing that, Jaleel.
I like it.
Why come shopping at Arsenal when you've got 48 players that you can't even put in your starting lineup?
Listen.
Why even come shop at my shop?
Listen.
Fair point.
You got so much inventory, my G.
You have to get in the market. That's the assignment. That is the assignment.
All right, so Alexis, who would Arsenal? What's a player that Arsenal should go after that will put them over the edge?
I don't even want somebody from Chelsea.
Okay,
Dusty.
Here we go.
Dusty overloaded warehouse.
Here we go.
I think, look, Arsenal, there's a couple of positions where I think Arsenal could really benefit from not just an upgrade, but maybe just an upgrade in depth and backup. I think of Bukayo Saka. The guy clearly needs someone that can play in his position and handle the job when he needs a break, especially with the amount of matches he has. I think of Gabriel Martinelli. Seemingly has lost the ability to take defenders on 1v1, especially cutting in from the left. Now he kind of cuts in a little bit at the top of the box versus really put those defenders under pressure, forcing them into the box to make decisions. Something is lost there. So I think maybe we go left. But I think the overwhelming, glaring thing Arsenal need right now is someone to score those goals. A 9 that is a bit more incisive than Kai Havertz. As much as I love Kai Havertz, if you move him out of that, whatever you want to call it, false 9, 9.5, whatever we want to call the position he's playing, his capabilities really diminish as far as his ability to help Arsenal. So I think let's replace him. Or at least let's bring in someone who can be that in and out number 9. The one name everybody wants right now is Gyokeres. I think Victor Gyokeres would be an absolutely amazing addition. When you look at Victor Gyokeres' numbers, everyone talks about the incredible amount of goals. And everyone knows that he was playing in a 3-4-3. Look, he's holding up 3 right there, right? He's trying to tell you, 3-4-3. The thing about him is, the majority of the assists on this team are coming from the right-hand side in Trincao, in that forward position. That's where Saka is. Odegaard is just above him. Already, a lot of the assists are going to be coming from the exact same position that he's already being fed right now. So it's almost, without being put in another 3-4-3, he's going to be put in a system that fits him. Now, here's the big question. Does Arsenal want a in-and-out number 9? Or do they want someone who's back to goal and can do a little link-up? Or maybe is a little bit smooth inside that box and can make their own shot? And that's where my brain starts to go, well, maybe it's Isak, someone who has that experience in the Premier League.
Interesting.
Which is really important when you think about a Premier League striker. You want someone who has the experience in the league already and has done it. So I think between those two, either Gyokeres or Isak, and you've got yourself a title-winning team.
Interesting. Very interesting, Alexa. I don't disagree, though. I think the number 9 is the glaring issue with
Right.
with
I don't think it's the
Arsenal.
only issue, but it's the most important
the
issue.
biggest one. And it's been the issue for
Yeah.
a few seasons now. All right, Christine Cupo. You were assigned Manchester City.
I sure was.
Yes. Who you got?
They have been having.
What do you get the man that has everything?
I'm like, Pep, Bud, we need to talk. No, they've been having an absolutely just abysmal season. Part of that has been
For their standards.
Yeah.
for them.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for them is an important addition contextually. And the productivity in terms of goal scoring has been solely Erling Haaland, which is not surprising. However, what is surprising, once they moved Julian Alvarez off the books for the sale, Rodri, knee injury, Grealish, not necessarily a prolific goal scorer, Gundogan, not productive, Phil Foden, who usually can dig something out, Bupkis.
Bupkis.
Yeah, Bupkis. That's the technical term.
I love it.
So what I'm looking to is Canadian national Jonathan David, who has been consistently en fuego for Lille.
The fact that you're sitting in Charlie Davies' chair right now and saying
That's
this is so
kismet.
And
tremendous.
yes,
Serendipitous, if you will.
he's young. He's consistently put up double-digit goals, with his most outstanding season being 22-23 with 24 goals for the season for Lille.
Are you suggesting to replace Erling Haaland?
No, but I think they need another goal scorer. Like Julian Alvarez was their other striker, essentially. He's gone. They never filled that spot, and they just haven't been fit this season. So anyone they could rely on for goal scoring, just no mas. So, I say his contract is up at the end of the season. I know that he did wave his little toodaloo, hey, Barca, if you want to have dinner, receptive. But
Just putting out the
who's
vibe.
going to say no to City if they swoop in and say, listen, I've got an offer for you. I think he's got about like a 58 million euro release clause, but
Wow.
he's free at the end of the season, and the January window is a blink away. So Pep, chop, chop, my friend.
58 million is not bad for look at
No.
these numbers.
He's very young, too.
Yeah, that's not a bad price for a guy
Yeah.
who scores this consistently.
Yep.
I ship this. I like it. I like it
Yeah.
a lot, Christine.
But would he make the move to be a backup on Man City, which is essentially what you would be?
Absolutely.
I think
You think
that's
so?
a yes, because you
Yes.
could always sort of slot him as a winger.
Why do you think that?
Because I agree with what Kupo's saying in terms of when the biggest club in the Prem calls, you going. You're not passing that up. Why would you pass that up? Especially right
To
now
be a
when
starter somewhere else?
when you're playing at Lille right now.
Yeah.
You want the biggest move. So if you're on the precipice of the biggest move, that is why you kill it wherever you are, so the biggest clubs come calling.
Yeah,
I
look,
think
I don't.
if they also, I mean, he's got versatility. He's young, right? I think if you want to use him as sort of like a strike partnership, I think that could
I
work
think that
out
would
really,
work
really well.
wonderful, yeah.
And so I feel like this would be a brilliant move.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I'm just interested
Yeah.
as to why you thought that, especially knowing Julian Alvarez went for, what did he go for, 80 million? As the
Yeah.
quote-unquote backup?
Yeah.
There's
I'm
clearly
just
still
saying,
the
like,
ability to get a move out of
if
there
they
to a big
want
club.
to sort of add that extra layer, given the just spurts of just unhealthy players who normally produce, and that's currently one of your chief problems, you want to solve that before you get too far into this hole that you've dug.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be, tussling the way you did with a Forest, even
And
though
Pep's
they've
there
been
for
great
another
this-
year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great shout. I love
115
it.
charges maybe, but.
Shocker, I was assigned Liverpool.
Oh, wow. This must have been really difficult for you.
This was definitely random, very random.
Did you have to
don't know
Google them
why.
or?
Just, not really familiar
Yeah.
with this team. No, in all seriousness, though, I think they can win a title with what they have right now. They've been playing unbelievably well, in incredibly good form. One loss on the season, that was to a very informed Nottingham Forest team. So I think they have all the pieces right now. I think one of their strengths is actually their depth. But, the caveat here is that I think that they rely too much on Mo Salah for the goals. for the goals. And you have to have another guy that can put the ball in the back of the net, because you can't rely on Mo to score 2+ goals a game. He's been doing it, but that's not sustainable. It's not realistic. So I think if you could get, they don't have, outside of Darwin Núñez, who, you know how much I love Darwin, but my guy has not been able to finish. I don't know what is going on. I don't know what the difference is between club and country. But you saw it in the Newcastle match. I mean, just sitters right in front of goal, and he can't find a way. And so I'm looking for a number 9, a proven goal scorer with Premier League experience. And we talked about recency bias in our production meeting. Alexander Isak from Newcastle.
I could see it.
He scores in big moments. The guy knows how the big chances, he puts that away. And I think that would be a huge asset for Liverpool, who outside of Darwin Núñez don't really have that number 9. They put Jota in there when he's healthy, but my guy is never healthy. And he's not even really a true number 9. So I think a guy like Alexander Isak, who just has a nose for goal, a knack for it, a finisher, would be the piece that would kind of put them over the edge. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at with that.
It's not a bad shout. I could see him on Liverpool for sure.
Well, it's great. So Mo Salah has scored 49% of Liverpool's goals this season.
Carrying the ball.
Almost 50% of their goals have come from one guy. The next highest goal total is from Luis Diaz with 5. So they're just, to me, it's the balance is not there.
It's kind of funny that Liverpool and City are like two sides of the same coin, same issues, same reliance, same potential issue down the road if they stop being productive.
I know, and Alexander Isak, he's one of these guys that's a little bit slept on. I think probably because he plays for Newcastle, and they're not regularly in European competition, but in his 2.5 seasons, he has scored the 4th most Premier League goals, only behind Erling Haaland, Ollie Watkins, and Mo Salah.
You're right.
So it's like, this guy can produce.
And people do be sleeping on him, but they need to wake up.
Yeah.
The question that I got, though, is his $75 million Euro transfer or value, is that going to be more worth it for Liverpool or for Arsenal? That's my first question. But before we get to you guys answering the question, how transfers often happen, or trades, depending on the league that you're in, is you kill a certain team. You have their number, or you produce a magical moment that people within the organization remember. When you talk about recency bias, this goal that they got to pick out of the top corner, they're still searching for it. These are types of moments, though, where a club looks at a player differently, like, hey, maybe we should bring Isak in, or this, that, and the third. But back to the question, is that 75 more worth it for Liverpool or for Arsenal?
I think for Arsenal, it's probably more worth it, and I'll explain why. So Arsenal, and I completely agree with everything you said. I did have a chance to look at their proprietary system, right? Now, I won't say how, but I got a chance to look at the proprietary system of how they sort of...
He's from Newark.
Yeah, I mean, stuff happens. I got a crack version of it, where they look at sort of prospective players that they're looking at. And there's notes from some of the biggest names in the organization saying, like, here's what we think. And then there's a sort of analysis that happens based on those notes that gives them the data that they're looking for. So I think you're right. I think most players will be like, hey, find out who that guy is. He looks really good. And then figure out, does he fit in our team? Should we buy him? I think Arsenal takes that plus the data approach. When you look at Isak, he has the numbers. You've done a great job of detailing that. But that little glint that he shows doesn't have to be against him. Every once in a while, a highlight gets loaded of him where every comment underneath is, man, that kind of looks like Henry. That's Henry-esque. He kind of runs like Henry. He takes a shot like Henry. I think that right there is enough for Arsenal to look at him and go, he has that thing where if he made some of those highlights inside the Emirates, the place would go nuts.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you just said, and I think he makes a lot of sense for an Arsenal side. I don't think Liverpool would probably spend that money. That's not their business model. But this is,
they paid a lot for Darwin Núñez.
They did pay a lot for Darwin. And look, I don't want anyone to think I'm giving up on Darwin.
It's funny.
Sounds like
nobody thinks
one
that.
Of the
I think that.
recent headlines say, like, Mikel said, go check out Matteo Retegui and see what's going on with him.
Good God.
How would you feel about that?
I want a proven goal scorer, and this guy's got one really great season, and we're in it right now.